Good morning, girlies. There's the Neeka New and Wren. They've had a night out in this turnout for a change, but they'll move over to the round pen with their breakfast. Hello, gorgeous. Looks like we've got a nice sunny day today. You're very impatient. Would you like some breakfast? We got a little prince call. Day before your big birthday. 29 tomorrow. What do we think, Prince? Is Annie invited to your birthday party? I would imagine that she's the top guest, isn't she? Because I think she's your heroine, isn't she? And we've got a little Twixie. Good morning, Twix. Are you ready for your pouches? I take it that's a yes. You shout louder than the horses for your breakfast, don't you? It's another beautiful morning here. Down with the boys. There's little Angel Eyes tucking into his breakfast. And Iceman, who's going to be coming up for a clean up, and then he gets the pleasure of going into the friendship barn today with all visitors. They wanted a cuddly one, and he is one of the most cuddly. And there's Frey's little weirdo, Uber. Nero and Hida are still out in the orchard. I'm going to restart some of Nero's exercises that we've just let slip while he's been out adjusting to life in the paddock. And then as we've got a nice sunny day, and the weather didn't play ball the last 2 days, it wasn't as dry and sunny as it was supposed to be. And you can see the grass is still down in the 14 acre, but that and the long field are all going to get baled and wrapped today. Isn't that a peaceful picture? Hoyts has been in stable stays again overnight with Dan and his 2 daughters. And it's the perfect place to sit in the morning. As you can see, Danny's sat there enjoying his book. I can't quite see what he's reading. And I think one of the girls has gone back to bed because Hoytzer did his usual, trumped all night, and then kicked on the gate demanding his breakfast, I believe at 3 o'clock. Meanwhile over here we've got Michael working away. Still got his back support on. Is your back feeling a little better? No?
Little, yeah.
I did say that he shouldn't be working today, but he doesn't like sitting still.
If you sit around, it gets worse, you know. When I was sat in the sofa last night watching TV, it was agony. But once I'm moving around, it's not too bad, you know.
Okay, well, keep moving those blocks then. That's looking great, so that's going to be the patio. And what a beautiful place that's going to be to sit. Enjoy a morning coffee and those gorgeous views. Oh, Icicle, it's hard work this morning, isn't it? It's quite warm. Go on, you can make it up the hill. Oh, such an effort. But that's okay. You get to chill in the friendship barn later. while I've been washing Iceman. He's been clattering around with his front feet because unfortunately Chris hasn't been able to come over the last week. And what happens with Ice, as you'll see, he grows right over the back of his shoes here and they're rattling quite a lot, and he has a habit of ripping them off in the field and then ripping half of his hoof away. So because Chris isn't coming till Thursday, I think to save a little bit of that hoof, we'll get the shoes off today. Do you not like the smell of our food today? Can you not chew on him, Annie? Or are you taking on the role of vehicle inspector? Eh? That was always Teddy's job. Yes, I'll come back and give you scratches in a minute. I've got to go and put some rugs on the girls. Are you all a little bit agitated? So the girls have been running around down here for the past 10 minutes. And it is purely because the sun's come out. So all these nasty, horrible Clegs are back and really irritating them. So Maaike has hers on. You can see a Cleg there. Oh, that's right, Maaike, don't mind me. But you know, there's usually a reason why they get agitated, and this is it, which is why I've brought all their fly sheets back down. That's Inna's rug on. Maids is in one of the spare zebra rugs because her rug is off at Hazel's workshop. Unfortunately, she's not been able to source an industrial sewing machine, so it's proving a little challenging to get her own rug repaired, but she's on the case. But this is where, you know, this time next year, the horses are going to have the choice to come out of this field when the Clegs get bad, come through this gateway, straight through into the 14 acre, and over here is where the new building is going to be. So that will hopefully save us from having to watch them getting stressed when all of a sudden the sun comes out and the Clegs start biting. And you can see Inna there, she's feeling really itchy just because of all those Clegs. And you know, generally they're really quiet and settled, but as soon as something aggravates them, it causes a lot of upset. And as we've got visitors up at the yard right now as well, on one of our Meet the Horses tours, the last thing they want to do is come down here and see a whole load of horses looking rather stressed with life. It's interesting, you know, this is a perfect example this morning of why it's so important to understand the horses and understand why they do what they do. Because so many people say to us all the time, oh, your horses are so relaxed, they're so calm and they're so gentle. And the majority of the time they are, but they can still have their moments where, you know, they're full of themselves or they're agitated. And it's understanding, like I said a minute ago, what it is that's bothering them and what needs to be done to get them back into that zone of being nice and relaxed and happy. And you know, obviously I've come down with the rugs to put them on the horses so that they're a bit happier, but also because our visitors today, you know, they don't know horses, they're pure animal lovers, they want to gain confidence around horses. That's where, as a team, it's really important for us to make sure that we're managing the horses on a day-to-day and hourly basis, to make sure that they're comfortable and happy, because then they in turn help our visitors to gain confidence and understanding around them. Maaike, are you disappointed because I didn't bring more food down? I'm sorry. You are going to come up to the yard though this afternoon, because I have got a plan for you this week. I'm not quite sure that it's going to happen, but we're going to do our best. So Friendship Barn is pretty much ready on the inside. There's some nice music playing. The solarium will go on if it's not too warm. There's coffee and tea, a little grooming kit down there, and a little slideshow of pictures of the horses on the iPad. And we often have the seats out the front here, which it's nice if people have the choice to go in or out of the Friendship Barn. Excuse the sound of the jets. Red arrows at the weekend, jets today. But the other thing outside the front here, I've just noticed I need to get some cushions for that chair, is because Annie tends to pee out the front. It's her protest of not going in there. It gets a little bit stinky. But fortunately, we have a spray called Corgin, I think, which basically suppresses any odours. It's a very natural product. So we have our little spray machine that we just spray the whole outside here. Otherwise it stinks of pee. But you may remember we had some lovely barriers around the front here that unfortunately all the free reigners have rather trashed. So this is an area that we need to look at regenerating and maybe putting a circular concrete area at the front so that it doesn't get a whole load of haylage and muck all in amongst the stones, and maybe some proper nice galvanised steel, powder coated railings and chains to go round the front, and that will hopefully as well stop the horses from eating little teddy bears plant here, our Acer, which is looking very sad because they clearly found it very tasty, and these two trees here. But you know, we've got so many projects that we want to do, but this one I'm definitely going to add to the list because it will finish off this area beautifully. So as soon as I put ice in there, ready for our visitors, Annie has to come round and try and gate crash. Annie, we're going round to the tie-ups because you're going to have a freshen up because you're quite itchy, aren't you? We'll leave you in peace to enjoy your visitors. Right, so do you want to start the blower and finish tidying up in here? No, you haven't learnt that skill yet, have you? They're looking longingly at the grass in there because we've got them shut out of there while it just recovers, because they did properly strip it. But give it another week or two and they'll be able to go back in there. Oh, Hoyts, do you need another salt lick up there? We usually have a salt lick sitting on this ring here. But you've broken it, haven't you? Shall I go and get you a replacement? Yo-Yo, have you found the broken bit of salt lick? Yeah? Quite surprised you can manage to get it in there. Your nose only just squeezes into that little planter. That works quite well. Again, of course, thank you to everybody who's bought the Himalayan salt licks off the wish list. They do enjoy them, especially on a warm day. There we go, there's a fresh Himalayan salt lick to keep them happy. You can just see down there in the 14-acre field, Edward's down there rowing it all up, ready for baling tonight. Meanwhile, we're having our lunchtime coffee, and look, we've got Mark and Diane here. So Mark and Diane, as you know, are multi-talented, and Mark did that wonderful job on the hay trolley. And look, he's looking slightly worried because he knows exactly what I'm going to say, because you started talking to me about my tractor, didn't you? Yes. Which is a little old. because the person who I call to come and service it generally ignores me and doesn't reply to my messages. So you were telling me that you just have to do this and you just have to do that. And I was like, nah, I'd rather just do those things with the horses. So you've gone and had a little look at the tractor, haven't you?
Yes.
Have you gone all shy on camera now?
It's way above my pay grade.
You don't get paid. You get to go and do a bit of metal detecting in the fields.
Yes.
Yeah. Mark, would you like to do more metal detecting?
I would, but not on the tractor.
There's probably bits of tractor that you'd find in the fields.
We could build you a tractor with everything he's found.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a mechanic, sorry.
Oh, you're not going to do anything on my tractor?
I can't.
Can you
No,
not?
I'm not qualified.
Oh, you don't need to be qualified. We never worry about qualifications here.
Look it up on YouTube.
No.
Yeah, look it up on YouTube.
Yeah, there you go. YouTube's brilliant for so many things.
Yeah, there'll be a how-to.
Yeah, because you were just telling me off for the fact that all the hoses are leaking.
I didn't say they were all leaking.
But a lot of them are.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it is something that we need to get on top of. Just reminding me that you're in there. I was walking past and she gave me a little nicker because she's been confined while Ice has been in the friendship barn. She had her little wash. She stood under the solarium, even though it was a hot day. The infrared is really good for her skin. You can come back out now and we'll get your fly sheet back on. Iceman's going back out with his buddies with Jodie there. He loved it in the friendship barn, as did our visitors. You can just see over to the long field over there. That's all rowed up as well. So let's see how many bales we get off there later today. They're all hiding out by the gate because I've been cleaning in the stable. And it's quite a mission to clear in here every day. It's quite a big area and they do make it quite wet. But it's good to just leave the bed up every now and again, just to air it. And we have our trusty blower that's very good for getting all the dust off around the walls and up on the ceiling. And look, we've got some of our star and crown donors all listed up there. Diana, Diane, Diane, Iris, Karen, Lisa, Mary and Tanisha. There are crown donors. And then we have our star donors over here. Kenise, David, Donna, Joy, June, Kim, Linda, Morna, Nancy, Penny, Patricia, Pamela and Sandra. And just like with the girls' turnout area that we're doing, we'll find a way to have all of you who would like your names engraved or shown in some way on that building, to have them displayed down there once it's all complete. So while they don't have access to a lot of grass, we just keep them topped up with haylage there in their hay bar. And you can see Yodel on the right there. She very tentatively creeps in because she knows that Hoitzer will tell her off if she starts to take too much of it. Little Jubbers has still got his muzzle on, but he gets all the bits that drop onto the floor. Little Princey's having a pre-birthday bath. What's the betting he goes and finds loads of mud now, Frey, to roll in?
Well, my theory is it might have dried out
It might
a
have.
little bit.
Princey, you have to look sparkly clean for your birthday. Don't you? Are you excited? Was that a yes? I think he's excited, Frey. So Maaike and I are back in the arena. I'm planning to do some groundwork. And what I want to do is get her in a position where she can be nice and relaxed when this goes back on her. Now, dating back to when I very first started working with Maaike, we'll let you finish itching. There we go. Because she's always been this very tight little tense horse, whenever she first had the saddle on, it was like she felt quite restricted, and I'd get on her and she'd just bounce up and down because clearly the muscles in her back weren't relaxed enough. Whereas if we can get her to the point where everything's all nice and relaxed, even with just the saddle on and without me sitting on her, then hopefully she'll accept it and she'll feel more comfortable with it, and we won't have the whole bouncing. Because years ago we used to have bouncing, we used to have rearing, and it wasn't through naughtiness or badness, it was just because she just felt quite uncomfortable and quite restricted. So I'm gonna do several days of groundwork with her, and then the plan is to go to Mel's on Friday, let her have a Hoof mag session, do a groundwork session with her as well with Mel's guidance, and then maybe hop back on her for the first time in over a year. So I've started off with just doing some of the basic groundwork exercises with her without her saddle on. And now she's a little bit more relaxed, and you can see her little eyes are closing there. She's definitely looser through her whole body. I've popped the saddle on, and that would be classed as a pressure. So originally when I used to put the saddle on, there'd be lots of tail swishing, her back would go up a little bit, she'd feel quite uncomfortable. But we'll now just go through the same exercises again that we did without the saddle on, with it on, so that she can learn to relax in the same way doing those exercises with the additional pressure of that on her back. Unfortunately, the Clegs aren't really helping today. And although she's there, stood there nice and relaxed now, she's getting quite agitated with them when they're landing on her. First of all, I thought, is she agitated because of the girth? But there were several Clegs underneath here biting at her belly, and she's actually been very relaxed in general with the saddle back on her. You know, she was never naughty, she was never difficult, and she enjoyed her ridden work. And I know that I probably, you know, I could just hop on her now, but I would far rather get those muscles nice and relaxed before I ask her to carry me anywhere. One of the other exercises that we do is getting them to stand by the mounting block and swing their quarters round into it, and then she needs to just stand here nice and relaxed even when I'm up on the mounting block. But obviously, as you can see, given that she's getting eaten alive by Clegs, despite being covered in fly cream and fly spray, she's a bit agitated, but she is staying in position, so I really can't fault her for that. Well, that didn't take long, Smurfy, did it? Frey's just given you a clean up, and you've already gone and rolled in the mud. All baled up, thanks to Tony again. And a little more than we were expecting. So there's actually 33 in here, which is perfect. So we've got enough now for the next 12 months. And they're actually ended up with more bales than we expected off the 14 acre as well. So there were 83 in there, but as agreed, Philip's going to have those. And then we're going to have to start seriously thinking about what we're going to try and do to regenerate this whole field for next year.
I wake up in the morning with a smile on my face, feeling thankful for the love and the happiness we chase. Sun is shining brightly, sky so blue and clear. With every breath I take, I'm grateful you are near. So grateful, yeah. Thank you for the laughter, thank you for the tears. Thank you for the moments that we hold dear. Thank you for the love, thank you for the light.